So one of the things that I really love about meditation are these little teachings. And two of them I'd like to talk about, which is, one is called the 12 Nidānas, and it talks about the chain of suffering, why we suffer. And you know perhaps that the first noble truth in Buddhism is that life has suffering in it. It's been rewritten that life has stress in it, and I think we probably all know that that's true. So what the 12 Nidānas addresses is this sort of chain of suffering, why we get stuck, and gives us the promise of how we can break the chain of suffering. So this is one of my favorite teachings, because what they tell you is that, I feel like I'm giving out the cliff notes, but that's part of what I love about this. Because after you study for a long time and you get it, you can sort of share the little bit that you come to understand. But what the 12 Nidānas addresses is that the place to break the chain of suffering in our existence is between the 8th and 9th Nidāna. And the 8th Nidāna is grasping, and the 9th is clinging. So it's okay if we want something. You know, I really want that vanilla ice cream cone. But the point at which we have to have it, when grasping changes to clinging, I must have that vanilla ice cream cone. That is suffering. It gets me so excited to talk about it. If we can catch ourselves of just wanting something, just grasping after it, that's fine. I want the vanilla ice cream cone. I'm not going to have it. But if we have to have it, clinging, that's suffering. So if we can sort of find that spot between wanting something and having to have it and cut it there, that is the promise of the teaching of the 12 Nidānas. And to me, that was everything. I mean, we don't learn about this. That really our salvation, our liberation comes between grasping and clinging. Who would even think of that? It would be wonderful if we could teach America, because media, advertising, I must have it. I must have those pants. I must have that new eyeliner. I must have that color nail polish. I must have that new car. I must have that motorcycle. And I think that our culture sort of co-opts our minds and makes us hungry and needy, so that the corporate culture, God bless it, can continue. But I think that it really is our downfall, because we don't have ownership of our own existences. So these little Buddhist teachings, Buddhist psychology, are so valuable, because then you can see that I can break the chain here, right between having to have it and just wanting it. So huge. Another teaching is the 3 poisons: passion, aggression, and ignorance. Passion, I want more of that. Aggression, get away from me. Ignorance, which is sort of nihilism, whatever. Ignorance is whatever. It just means not caring. The minute we don't care, we're in trouble. So if we look at our lives and our daily lives and we go through the day, we'll see that that's exactly how we live. It's such a waste. Wanting more of something, not wanting something, or whatever. Passion, aggression, ignorance. And there's really a way to transcend that, and that is discovered through meditation and mindfulness. Because what we're able to do by bringing ourselves from discursive thinking, just through awareness of breath, back to the present moment, when we're fully with another person, that doesn't exist. The 3 poisons disappear. They're gone, because we're with somebody. So there's no sense of wanting more, wanting less, whatever. There's just immersion in the moment, a true being with. So there's so much richness in mindfulness traditions that really can help us to indwell in our lives in more compelling, happy, creative ways, when we're not stuck in this discursive mind, this static of the radio station that just plays on and on and on. We have so many habits of mind. We ruminate and ruminate and ruminate until it's like a little, wormhole or something. And what we really need to do is be able to just notice the discursiveness and have a sort of interesting attitude about it. So that's what I'm doing right now, and just let it go and then come back. But what the mind does is it grabs a hold of a thought and it tells you it's real, and it really is enough to make us sad and depressed and anxious. And a lot of all of these psychological problems come out of the fact that no one's ever told us that it's the discursive nature of our mind that's the problem, not us. And if we can just learn how to silence and quiet and stillness, we can come from a deeper part of ourselves and not be just up in the top layer. We can come down to a more humanistic and centered way of being. So I really fell in love with this whole approach because to me it wasn't a religion. It just made so much sense in how to live. Mindfulness is a way of life. And I just encourage people to practice meditation and mindfulness. It's really impossible to get a hold of the mind unless you sit and watch it. And what meditation practice really is sitting and watching the movie of your mind, understanding how you're thinking, what thoughts come up constantly. I had a meditation teacher who said, once you label the thought and come back to your breath, it's like a train going out of the station, and before you know it, oh, here it comes again. So we really have such a habit of mind that it's important, and I think so helpful, if we just come to know ourselves, know thyself. And then we don't have to listen. We can come from a different place, like, oh, I'm saying that again. So it's almost like boot camp of the mind meditation, and you just come to kind of like laugh at yourself after a while. It's like, oh no, not that thought again. So I don't know. I think that it's a very light approach, even though it gets a rap for being heavy because it's so focused on the fact that existence is limited. But for me, what that means is that that's a wake-up call to have as rich and full and loving a life as I can, to really enjoy the roller coaster ride while I'm on it.